How should
What?
I refer to you?
Rex.
Just Rex? Okay. I didn't
No,
know.
you can use my last name. I recover out loud as well.
Cool.
Rex Shades Eagle.
Nice. However you need to express yourself is cool. Nothing's really off limits. Whatever you want to share and is crucial to tell your story, we're here for it. So I will do a separate sort of intro after. So we'll kind of just jump into things here when you're ready.
I like the evolution of your studio area.
Yeah.
Like I watched Shame and Trauma with my 6-year-old self.
Yes.
That was a great episode, by the way.
Studios evolved a little bit. Some things stay, some things go, some things change a little bit. So
Is
yeah,
that real brick or faux brick?
it's faux brick. Happy Sober Day, friends. Welcome to the Sobriety Diaries. My name is Nate. I am a grateful recovering alcoholic, 7 years from my last drink. The Sobriety Diaries is a video podcast where we share powerful stories of recovery told by those who lived them. Check us out at thesobrietydiaries.com for all things podcast related. And for all our video interviews, head over to youtube.com/Nate Kelly. Also, please share this podcast with just one person in your life who may still be struggling. You just never know what they may need to hear today. Recovery is possible. Good morning, friends. I am here with Rex Shades Eagle, my new friend. How are you today? Happy Saturday.
I am absolutely wonderful. I always tell people I'm better than most, but not as good as some.
That's fair. I like that
Yeah,
statement. It can be accurate in any circumstance, right?
absolutely. Where I was 9 years ago to where I am today, like I could have never imagined my life being anywhere as close to as wonderful as it is today. My mornings are very busy. I get up about 5:30, do a yoga routine. I do a sun salutation with the three warrior poses, and it just kind of warms me up. I have back issues, so it stretches my back out, gets my legs stretched out so that I can go hit that bike.
Yeah,
And
I love that. This is actually a great place to start. We were talking a bit about some other things in your morning routine and how your life has evolved in sobriety. Bike riding is one of them, but what other things do you sort of use in your daily routine
um,
that are different from a decade ago?
so I first got sober in 2006. I'm predominantly a heroin addict, but my drug I'm a heroin addict whose drug of choice is more. Like I don't care. Like I would be in the bathroom shooting up meth, bitching about how I hated meth. You
Right?
know what I mean? And like
Yep.
and so but I identify also as an alcoholic because probably 99% of my relapses throughout the years of in and out of incarceration and going from, just heroin to like just drinking or this or that. But all of my relapses always started because I had this mentality that, like, I'm cool, I can just drink.
Yeah.
It's cool if I just drink. I'll be all right. Um,
I've always been curious, Rex, do you find that relapsing with alcohol is partly because of accessibility and it's just
Absolutely.
yeah.
100%. I mean, it is ridiculous. I have a really good friend of mine from the program. When he first came to this country, he was amazed. He couldn't believe, like, he was disgusted at how much sex and alcohol is just saturated everywhere you look. Billboards, driving down the roads, in restaurants, on bus stops. I mean, it's just
It is disgusting,
unbelievable.
really.
It is. It is. It's absolutely disgusting. When I got sober, the first time, I really dove in. And I didn't dive in like by choice. I woke up on my 32nd birthday in 2006, and I was on the ankle monitor. I was on house arrest because I just got out of prison like a month before on November 1st, 2 months before. My birthday's in January 16th. I wake up, and for my birthday, my roommate, who was 21, and her 19-year-old boyfriend and my 21-year-old girlfriend decided to throw me a surprise party. And the party was popular. I think I was one of maybe three or four people who was old enough to buy alcohol out of a party of like 80 people. And I think I was only at like maybe one of 10 or 15 who was old enough to buy cigarettes at the time. And it's
Wow.
just like, yeah. So I woke up, and, in AA, we call this a moment of clarity.
Right.
And I woke up, and I'm laying next to my girlfriend and this other girl who fortunately turned out to be over 18. I was really scared because I didn't remember the night. I drank to oblivion. And I walked to my parole office, which was 9 blocks away. And I told my parole officer, I said, hey, man, I need to get sober. I need to get clean. He didn't even know I was using. I was going to the library and I was using Google Word documents to copy and paste hospital letterheads from this hospital in Denver, because this gave me an excuse to go to Denver. And I had my parole officer and my job convinced that I had a malignant tumor sitting in my esophagus, and that it was causing me to, every time I ate, it would cause me to throw up. I couldn't hold food down. So this explained why I was losing so much weight.
Wow.
The parole officer, 2.5 months in, literally thinks that I'm dying of cancer. And I'm like, no, I just been shooting dope and I'm really good at fucking the system.
Holy shit.
And he was like,
that's
yeah.
some levels that we go to, right?
Dude, talk about the amends that came with all of that.
Wow.
At the time, though, I was living in Boulder, which is only like a 40-minute bus ride to Denver. So I had just got back to Denver and I was just about to get well, and the doorbell rings. So I go to answer the doorbell. Boom, it's parole officers. My parole officer shows up like 30 minutes into the search when they're calling to figure out which jail I'm going to, right? And he shows up and he's like, no. He's like, I've already talked to the supervisor. He was like, I got it handled. They go outside and talk. The one parole officer comes back in, uncuffs me, and he was like, man, you just got touched by an angel, bro. He leaves, and my parole officer says, it's 6 o'clock right now. He was like, I'm giving you 2 hours, because I actually lived in Longmont, which is right outside of Boulder.
Yeah.
He said, I'm giving you 2 hours to get to Boulder to get to the ARC, which was the Addiction Recovery Center, which was the detox. He was like, and self-admit. He was like, if you leave without my permission, he's like, all of this. And they had like 2 bags full of stuff, plus alcohol.
Right.
And like paraphernalia, bongs, pipes, stuff like that. He's like, all of that is going into an evidence bag and getting locked in my filing cabinet. He was like, you fuck up, that's going to the DA. He's like, you owe me 8 months. He was like, you better figure it out. I went to detox, man. I was so sick. I was in a like dope sick withdrawal blackout for like 3 days, and I come out of it and I got these business cards that said, Raymond, call me anytime, with smiley faces and like happy face emojis on it. I'm like, oh my God, I met a new dope dealer, right? So I threw him away. This guy turned out to be he owned a cleaning company that cleaned all of the mental health buildings after hours at night. And he would come and just be on site supervisor for his cleaning crew. And so to pass the time, he was a recovering alcoholic. He'd just come to the detox and talk to the people who couldn't sleep. And apparently for the first 3 days, I had been talking to him a lot, told him my whole life story, like stuff that like when it came time for my 5th step, he was like, yeah, you told me that when you were, I'm like, what?
Don't remember
like,
that.
Stuff, yeah, like I don't remember that at all. I'm like, how many other people have I told this to? But I went through the steps quickly. He got sober in 1979. Wow. This was 2006. His sponsor had gotten sober in 1963 and was good friends with Bill and like Don Pritz and like Mickey Musset and like all of these like really, like, you know, like AA legends,
founding fathers.
Yes, for real, right?
Yeah.
And so I worked the steps really fast. 2 weeks, he gave me a notebook, and we did the 3rd step prayer in the parking lot of the treatment center. And he was like, here you go, man. You got 2 weeks to get it done. And this is why
there's something to be said about doing the steps quickly. My sponsor was hardcore committed to the fact that we were not going to sit on shit. And we went through the steps one after the next, back to back. I had some time to, you know, get my thoughts down for my 4th step, but it wasn't like we sat on shit for months at a time. It was like, let's go. Are we going to do this thing? Yes. All right. Well, then let's do it.
Absolutely. And the first thing that Raymond did when I was coherent enough to actually sit down and like my vision could read, he gave me my first big book, and he said, there's 2 things I want you to read. He said, I want you to read the first 16 pages, which is Bill's story.
Right.
He said, in the first 8, I want you to highlight any of the similarities. He's like, in the second 8, he's like, I want you to highlight that anything that Bill did that you're not willing to do. He said, and then I want you to go and read Dr. Bob's Nightmare. Same thing. So I said, okay, whatever. You know, fucking AA now comes with homework, right? Like, so, but I do, and I read them, and I'm like, holy shit, like, man, like, the language was archaic, and
Right.
and I wasn't that kind of alcoholic, but I was that kind of junkie. You know what I mean? Like, where I literally remember getting out of prison and having my exit check and hitting the bus station and cashing it. And next thing I know, I'm at my homeboy's house getting high, like with a needle in my arm. And I'm like, dude, like pounding on the bar. How the fuck did I get here?
Yeah.
And so by the time I got to my fourth step, I'd already read the book almost all the way through. And I got out, I did my fifth step, sixth and seventh right away. I already had most of my amends list. So I had enough at least to get started. After like my second or third amends, we really focused on the 10th and 11th step. And for me, that's my morning routine. That's my morning and my evening routine. Like I get up and what is my goal today? What is my goal for this week? What can I do this week? What can I do today to get this happening? And then most of the time I follow through.
Yeah. That's honesty. I love that.
And I don't beat myself up when I don't. When I come on a podcast, I like to know who I'm talking to. So like when I was scrolling through your back episodes, I was like, I saw the shame and trauma with my 6-year-old self. And then I saw my story. I was like, oh, it's your story. I was like, okay, cool. So this is what I want to get to know this guy.
Yeah.
And you had quoted someone else was saying it. I'm familiar with Gabor Mate saying it, that there's big T and little T trauma.
Yeah.
Just like there's big E and little E ego.
Yes.
Like if you're like, big dick energy. Oh, look at me. What's up?
Exactly.
I'm a fucking alpha male, blah, blah, blah. Or that's big E ego. Yep. And then there's like, man, look, see that house? I built that house. Or like, that's my kid that hit that home run. You know what I mean? Or like, I did the work to get me where I am today. I could like, this is one of the things my first sponsor used to say. He's like, God doesn't clean windows. So what he meant by that was that God will take care of the whole house. God will take care of everything in our lives. All we got to do is clean the windows. The bare minimum. Just make sure that our eyes are open and that our vision is clear on what we want to do. And like, I learned that 16 years ago when I first got sober, and I never forgot it.
I love that. I've never heard that before.
That, and he told me, and he got it from a sign that was in the old AA clubhouse in Boulder, but it says, when we don't feel close to God, guess who moved? When I first got sober, I wasn't a believer in God at all. Like I had created God in my image, like where judgmental, harsh, punishing, fear-driven, and when I was in that detox waiting to go to treatment, Raymond had gone behind my back to my parole officer and was like, hey, we're having a sober Super Bowl party. It would do a lot for Rex if he could be able to go and see that there's people can have fun and party and have a good time and not get fucked up. So my parole officer was all on board. He was a beautiful man that for the first 5 years of my sobriety, I would call him on my sobriety birthday and I would thank him because he believed in me. He was the first person in my life to ever believe in me, to ever be like, you know what? You're worth a shot.